If you are one of the millions of people navigating the incredibly stressful and often isolating world of infertility, you know just how grueling the process is.
Absolutely.
And while so much of the conversation tends to center on female reproductive health, the reality is that the male factor is involved in what, up to 50% of cases?
At least. And for decades, the way we've assessed that, the standard semen analysis, has been, well, woefully inadequate. It looks at count, motility, shape.
So basically how many there are and if they can swim straight.
Exactly. It tells you almost nothing about what's inside.
It's the fertility equivalent of judging a book just by its cover.
Right. And whether the mailman got it there on time. But you have no idea if the pages inside are readable.
And that's the core flaw. Our sources today, which draw from some landmark American and European data, are really exposing.
It is. So today we are diving deep to expose the real saboteur that lurks beneath a seemingly normal analysis. Sperm DNA fragmentation, or SDF.
And this SDF, it damages the actual genetic blueprint. It has the power to undermine even the most advanced, most expensive interventions we have, like ICSI.
Which is devastating for so many couples.
So our mission today is to show you why those standard tests miss this critical hidden damage, why treatments you might be spending a fortune on are failing because of it, and here's the twist, how an ancient low-tech solution, acupuncture, is emerging as a scientifically supported way to actually repair this genetic flaw.
It's a fascinating story.
It is. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is SDF?
Okay, so the easiest way to think about it is, imagine sperm are these tiny little couriers.
Okay, couriers.
And their entire job is to carry half of the genetic instructions needed to create an embryo, the blueprint.
Right.
SDF is what happens when those instructions, the DNA strands coiled up inside the sperm head, become broken. They're frayed. The essential information gets corrupted.
So the courier arrives, might even look great, swims brilliantly, but the package inside is just damaged goods.
Exactly. And you ask, what's causing this widespread damage?
Yeah, what's the culprit?
Overwhelmingly, it's something called oxidative stress.
I've heard that term. It's like cellular rust.
Right. That's a perfect analogy. And it's not just from obvious things like smoking anymore. We're now seeing it's from, chronic psychological stress, environmental pollution, poor diet.
So modern life, basically.
Pretty much. And also underlying issues like untreated infections or varicocele, those enlarged veins that raise the temperature down there.
So if oxidative stress is the problem, this isn't just about a low count. It's about a hostile internal environment that's just degrading the quality of the raw material.
That's it, exactly. The body has systems to package DNA safely, but when it's under this kind of systemic attack, that packaging fails. And the shocking part is the prevalence.
How common is it?
Well, studies suggest SDF affects a staggering 20 to 60% of infertile men.
Wait, 60%?
Up to 60. So think about that. Potentially more than 1 out of every 2 men seeking fertility treatment could have this issue, and the standard tests won't even tell them. You see how incomplete our approach has been.
That's astounding. It really makes you wonder why this isn't the very first test they run.
It should be.
So the doctor gives a pass because the sperm looks okay. But if the cargo is flawed, what are the actual real-world consequences for a couple trying to conceive?
The consequences are just heartbreaking. They hit at every single stage. You see failed fertilization, poor embryo development.
Because the blueprint is broken from the start.
Precisely. And more critically, high SDF is a major predictor of recurrent implantation failure in IVF and, tragically, much higher miscarriage rates. You just can't build something so complex with a broken set of instructions.
Which sets the stage perfectly for where this hidden damage collides with modern tech. The ICSI illusion.
Yes, ICSI.
Intracytoplasmic sperm injection. It was designed to be the ultimate fix for severe male infertility, right? You handpick one sperm, you inject it directly into the egg. It sounds like technological savior.
It was hailed as one. The promise was, we'll bypass natural selection, we'll guarantee fertilization. But ICSI is just a delivery mechanism. It can't fix what's already broken inside the sperm's DNA.
And I think this is where we really need to slow down, because this is often the most expensive, the most emotionally draining last-ditch option for couples. They hear ICSI success rates, and they just assume the male factor is solved.
And the data now tells a completely different story. It's unequivocal. There was a landmark systematic review from the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, ASRM, and the European Association of Urology.
The EAU, right? The two biggest players.
Exactly. They pulled data from over 3,000 couples, and the conclusion was stark. High SDF correlates with significantly lower live birth rates after ICSI.
They actually quantified that risk, didn't they? There was a relative risk factor.
They did. The relative risk was 1.11. So, to translate that for you, it means couples using ICSI, where the man has high SDF face, a documented increased probability of the whole thing failing.
An 11% increased risk of failure. When you're spending tens of thousands of dollars and, all your emotional energy, that is massive.
It's a huge deal. It suggests that the high-tech solution, by skipping nature's quality control, actually allows a compromised cell to be used, which just continues the cycle of failure.
It's like you're forcing a faulty key into the lock.
That's a great way to put it. I mean, look at the findings from the European Journal of Medical Research. Their 2025 meta-analysis linked high SDF directly to a lower rate of healthy embryos, what we call euploidy, fewer embryos with the normal number of chromosomes.
Because you injected a flawed blueprint, so the assembly line glitches.
The whole thing glitches, and the Cleveland Clinic gave us the most visceral example of this.
Oh, the one differentiating sperm sources. That was powerful.
It's the most compelling clinical proof we have. They took 172 men with high SDF and a low count. When they used the man's ejaculated sperm, which had, a devastatingly high fragmentation of around 41%, the miscarriage rate doubled. But then for the same men, they used sperm taken directly from the testicle, which naturally has much lower fragmentation, around 8%.
What happened?
The miscarriage rate dropped substantially.
Wow. So just by changing the quality of the sperm from the very same man, they slashed the risk. That proves it. The DNA quality is the central issue here.
It's not just a probability factor. It is an active block to a successful pregnancy. And this data is finally forcing a change.
The guidelines are shifting.
They are. The
Yeah.
American Urological Association now recommends SDF testing for recurrent IVF or ICSI failures, or even just unexplained infertility. The field is finally moving from does the sperm look okay to the real question, does the sperm work okay?
And that shift is everything, from appearance to function. Okay, so we've established the root cause is oxidative stress, the cellular rust, and the high-tech solutions can't fix it.
Right.
So how do we fix it? And this brings us to our third section, and a really unexpected hero, acupuncture.
It does seem counterintuitive, I know. An ancient practice with thin needles fixing molecular damage.
Right. It seems like a leap.
But the science is surprisingly robust. If the problem is poor quality control during sperm development, a process that takes about 72 days.
72 days, so there's a window.
There's a window of opportunity, exactly. Unlike an egg, sperm are made continuously. So if we can improve the environment during that 72-day production cycle, we can drastically improve the quality of the final product.
Okay, so how does the needle bridge the gap between ancient wellness and modern molecular biology?
It seems to work on two main fronts that directly fight SDF. First, locally, it increases blood flow to the testes. Better blood flow means better nutrient delivery, better waste removal, just a healthier production factory.
Makes sense.
But second, and this is probably more important, it has a documented anti-inflammatory effect system-wide. It helps regulate the nervous system, it lowers the stress hormone cortisol, and that helps calm down the chronic inflammation that causes the oxidative damage in the first place.
So it's not just calming the patient down, it's physically reducing the systemic stress, the rust.
You're literally creating a more nurturing environment for that 72-day window. You're calming the fire, and we have solid evidence for this.
Not just theory.
Not just theory. A 2010 randomized controlled trial in fertility and sterility.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. They had men get acupuncture twice a week for 5 weeks. The results showed a significant drop in their SDF scores, right alongside improvements in motility and morphology.
So the tune-up didn't just help the sperm swim better, it actually helped the DNA inside.
It improved the cargo. And we saw this even earlier. A 2005 study in the same journal found that men's functional sperm counts basically doubled after treatment. They linked it directly to less oxidative damage.
And there's a modern twist on this now, too, with electroacupuncture.
Right, showing how the field is evolving. A 2022 PubMed case series used it, just adding a mild electrical stimulation on men with idiopathic, unexplained infertility. After 12 sessions, their SDF dropped from 39% to 38%.
That's only 1%.
It sounds small, but for that specific couple, that 1% moved them below a critical threshold for viability, and they achieved a pregnancy. It shows that even a small gain in DNA quality can be the difference between failure and success.
And how does all this align with the original traditional Chinese medicine perspective.
Well, in TCM, the goal is to nourish what they call kidney essence, which is really their term for our deep reproductive vitality. The science reducing inflammation, improving circulation, it's basically just describing the mechanisms behind that ancient goal. It's a whole body approach.
Right. It addresses the root cause, not just the symptom, which is the perfect lead-in to how this is actually being used in the real world. There's a great example in New York City.
Yes, the Berkeley Center for Reproductive Wellness. It was founded way back in 1998 by Mike Berkeley. He was a real pioneer in this. The first acupuncturist in the U.S. to focus only on fertility, blending these two worlds.
So what do the outcomes look like when you combine the modern demand for SDF testing with these targeted acupuncture protocols?
The outcomes are really compelling. Reports from the center show patients on these tailored protocols, often with antioxidants and lifestyle changes too. They routinely see their DNA fragmentation drop by 20 to 40%.
20 to 40%. That's a massive improvement.
It's a game changer. It pushes them back into the safe zone, and they find success, either naturally or in their next IVF cycle.
And Mike Berkeley's perspective on this, it really gets to the heart of the emotional journey.
It does. He said, infertility is a marathon of heartache, but we've helped thousands cross the finish line. And you hear these patient stories, like one who said that after 2 failed transfers, his sessions turned our SDF nightmare into a nursery. It was the missing piece.
So let's bring all this home for you listening. I think the biggest takeaway from this deep dive is that advanced technology is only as good as the biological material it has to work with.
That's the bottom line. High-tech IVF and ICSI just cannot fix damaged DNA, a problem that our standard tests are routinely missing.
But the knowledge you have now is power. We've really distilled 3 critical, actionable steps from all this material for anyone navigating male factor infertility.
Okay, step 1.
Step 1. If you've had recurrent failures, implantation issues, or just unexplained infertility, you have to demand an SDF test. It's time to shift the focus from how sperm look to how they work.
Step 2, explore antioxidants. Talk to your provider about supplements that directly fight the oxidative stress that's causing the damage in the first place.
And step 3.
Step 3, seriously consider complementary care like acupuncture. We've seen it has research-backed ways of healing that cellular environment and optimizing DNA integrity over that 72-day window.
Right, and ultimately this whole conversation, it really forces a bigger, more provocative thought, doesn't it?
It does.
Could focusing on cellular health, on these ancient wellness practices before we deploy the expensive high-tech interventions, could that lead to way better outcomes in other complex medical fields, not just fertility?
It really challenges the belief that the machine is always better than the material, that maybe the quality of the raw materials is what matters most.
A powerful thought to end on. And if you are looking for an example of this integrative approach, the center featured in our sources, the Berkeley Center for Reproductive Wellness, invites you to call 212-685-0985 or visit www.berkeleycenter.com.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope this knowledge empowers you on your journey.
We'll see you next time.